right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Rise of the Dark Avatar, a campaign of Avatar Legends as done by Magpie Games. I'm ELH the Game Master, and if you're hearing this, I'm glad that you came back or decided to give Rise of the Dark Avatar a chance. Hopefully we continue to meet and exceed expectations. In terms of announcements, you might notice in the bubble below me, Wolf is currently on break for the month of March. We're hoping he comes back sometime mid-April, but we're going to kind of go with two players with Aaron and Matthew here. We're going to see how that works, and if it turns out we need a third, temporarily or otherwise, we'll bring in somebody. And we do already have a list of people lined up that hopefully can provide what's missing if need be. But anyways, announcement-wise, don't have really more than that. Just excited to be here tonight. And, yeah, so Aaron and Matthew, if you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah, sure. Hey, guys, I'm Aaron. Super excited to be back for the start of Season 2. Even more excited to have the complete rules that we've been able to play around with for a couple of weeks now. I'm playing Lu Song-Shi, the Earthbender, formerly using the Guardian playbook, but now I've switched over as of Season 2, and I'm using the Pillar playbook. Also, Tuesday nights, I'm Captain Williams on Star Trek Euthenia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I play Amaruk, a waterbender successor of a crime family in Republic City. And I've been with ELH for about 3 years now. I also play in the Tuesday evenings Congo games as Crewman Vizeth.
Oh, we went back to Congo, I see.
Oh, yeah, we did. It's just a harmonic convergence, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly sort of thing.
Well, with that said, Benno, if you want to take away the opening narration.
Water, air, fire, earth. Mastery of all four elements has always been associated with the ability to bring balance to the world. But Avatar Aang has passed away, and the new Avatar has yet to be found. In this transitional era of rapid progress and technological wonder, the world must come to rely on a new force to maintain the balance between humanity and spirits, between light and dark, yin and yang. Rava's followers would tell you that this new dark avatar should be locked away without question. Yet as a certain wise man will tell you, light and dark cannot exist without one another. There is light in the darkness, and darkness in light. Can the dark avatar truly keep the balance? Only time will tell.
We begin today's story in Republic City. It is raining. In fact, it's been raining for the past 3 days, and the weather forecast, it's probably going to rain for the rest of the week. And we see a figure, cloaked, moving through the throngs of people on the streets, keeping a hood up over their face as they dart between alleyways and bits and pieces of debris that litter the streets, the back roads, and kind of the rundown part of Republic City, which, given its current state, there's a lot more of that than you would think, but that's neither here nor there. We see this figure advancing down a staircase and then taking a right into some tunnels, and they emerge into what is essentially the underbelly of Republic City, a wide expanse where there's shanty towns, there's vagabonds, and basically the quote-unquote lower class or the seedy elements of society. We see this figure continue through this space until they take a left down another passageway and arrive in what at one point was probably some form of a water pump or a sewage room, something that held water, because it's still got kind of that moist smell to it. It's kind of damp and dank. It's not a pleasant smell. But when they walk into this space, they reach up and pull back the hood, and we see it as none other than Dark Avatar Ying herself. Again, if this is your first time here, Ying is a very large woman. She has very defined musculature. She has stark red hair, vibrant blue eyes, usually wears Fire Nation-esque sort of clothing, but today she's kind of more Water Tribe, and of course with the cloak. But when she comes in, we see two other figures. We see Amaruk, and we see Lu Songshi. And since it is technically the season premiere, would each of you mind re-describing your characters for us?
Matthew, would you like to go first?
No, please be my guest.
Oh, okay. Lu Songshi is a young man in his late teens, perhaps early 20s at the very, very oldest. He wears a top not typically indicative of somebody from a Fire Nation, but himself dresses in the deep greens of the Earth Kingdom, and that's flared with a little bit of gold at the edges of his robes. On his chest, diminutive but present, is a medallion, the sigil of the Dai Li, marking him as a lieutenant. And above that, a clutch of burned prayer beads that he wears about his neck. He stands, let's say, on the high side of 5 feet, but not approaching 6 feet. So he's still dwarfed a little bit by Avatar Ying, but still his bearing is very straight, stiff and rigid, common of an earthbender, and because of that, he tends to appear larger and taller than he is.
And sitting off in the corner of this room that has been unveiled, probably underneath a flickering electric light, as she is curled up with a large tome in her lap, sort of folded over it, is a relatively young female waterbender, probably around the age of 19. And she has the characteristic dusky brown skin of a Water Tribe member, a shock of brown-black hair, that runs down to her back. Although normally she has been seen wearing a standard or traditional Water Tribe garb, at this moment she's dressed in more of a melange of styles that are typically associated with Republic City and its fusion of cultures, but it is somewhat drab and run down. The only thing that stands out as being particularly evocative of the Water Tribe is the small and tattered or worn betrothal necklace that is around her throat. It is not indicative of wealth or class. It seems like it's haphazardly constructed. She is thumbing through this extensive, large tome and has a kind of keenness and intense focus to her eyes, but also a kind of delight that makes her already relatively youthful features appear almost juvenile in her fixation.
So as Ying throws back her hood and we see all that, Ying looks over to one of the opposite corners from where Amaruk is and says, anybody seen Hosa? I mean, did she step out, or?
Well, she smelled something.
Well, she's a shearshoe. I guess, yeah, that is par for the course.
Well, something a lot more interesting than normal.
Well, I mean, to be honest, we've spent, a month and a half in this, motioning around at the room. I wouldn't blame her for wanting to smell something else.
I mean, it's fairly foul for us, so yeah, I mean, I'm just happy she's getting out, enjoying herself. She deserves it after everything we kind of put her through, abandoning her again and again.
Okay, hold on. Let's be very clear here. We did not abandon her. We took emergency exits to the spirit realm, and she found us again, and we were happy, and it was all good. At least that's the lie I'm gonna tell myself to feel better. Yeah, we did kind of abandon her. Yeah.
And Emmerich just closes the book. You know, I'm detecting a little bit of resentment on her part. We really should do something for her. I mean, she's been really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I got her from my mom. She kind of looks at the ceiling. I think, tomorrow or maybe 2 days from now. I'm not 100% sure, but technically that's her birthday if we want to celebrate it.
It sounds like a great idea.
Though, I've always struggled with, what do you get a shearshoe?
Well, what's her very favorite food?
You know those iguanas on a stick that they roast over fires for far too long? Kind of that.
I love those.
You would think, she would go for something more palatable, but for some reason, she just really digs the iguana on a stick.
I mean, is it the odor of burnt rendered fat and flesh? That seems strange. You'd think that'd be a little bit repugnant.
Well, you would think, but and she kind of looks a little crestfallen. Unfortunately, our usual food guy still hasn't come back from the spirit realm, so couldn't tell you myself.
No, I can tell you exactly what it is. It isn't the taste or the smell at all, both of which are delicious, but it's the texture more than anything, the dryness, the cord-like quality of the meat after it's been just a little overcooked.
So like jerky, but not?
Exactly.
Huh. Well, the good news is that at least getting iguanas on a stick shouldn't be a problem, but, and at this, Ying kind of wanders over to just a rusted metal chair and sits down in it and goes, I mean, I really wish we could live somewhere else beside here, but, I mean, it's hard enough getting to Air Temple Island and doing training with Tenzin without being spotted by the media. I mean, even in this rainstorm that's been going on for far too long. I mean, how have you guys, I mean, you kind of were there when Tenzin made us stand in front of everybody in Republic City and give a speech, but, I mean...
Well, I was there when he made you give a speech.
I mean, this is true. I don't think any of you spoke, but you were kind of associated with me, so, I mean, the press, I mean, has the press been hounding you guys, or...?
No, I think it's because I stink, because I live down here.
Ah.
The odor's not that fetid, and also the real reason is, and she points over to the avatar, because you are such a radiant star, right? All the attention would obviously be focused on you. You're the avatar. We're just the people who travel with the avatar, which granted gives us some degree of respect and intrigue, but not you.
Well, it's funny you say that, Amruk, because one of the lovely media people that I ran into today wanted to know about your love life, ironically enough.
Oh no, that's never a good thing to talk about. Why would they ask that kind of question?
Well, they also asked it about Lu Songshi, but I just told them Lu Songshi was like a rock, doesn't really move and doesn't really care about anything else. And I told them that, Amruk, you were a blossoming flower that was very passionate and fiery.
She's a blossoming, passionate, fiery flower, and I'm a rock?
I mean, you're an earthbender. I don't know what else to tell you.
I feel like I'm the one who should be insulted here. I mean,
flowers grow in the earth, right?
I'm just gonna stop telling you guys things. I think we've had a miscommunication. You know what? I'm gonna just eat my bread. And she pulls up bread. I'm gonna eat my bread over here. Sorry, and just sulks in the corner where Hosa should be, and just starts eating her bread.
And I think at this, Lu Songshi will head over to Amruk, look at her very plainly, and say, "Am I the boring one?"
And Amruk just sort of waves him off completely. No. You are the steadfast rock that holds us together. You are the pinnacle that we stand on to reach the great heights that we have achieved. You're the stable ground under our feet. You know, when Xiaozhou used to run off and do something insane and nobody could stop him, you were the one that we always returned to. I don't think you're even listening to me, are you? You don't care. Why do you even come to me if you don't care?
I am the boring one.
I'm the bookworm, so I think by definition that makes me the boring one.
You're the blossoming, fiery flower.
I still don't get that.
And he'll just sort of look down and like snatch up a loose piece of masonry that's fallen down, perhaps from the sort of domed ceiling. Do you see this? Apparently, this is me.
No, you're more of like an amethyst, I think. Like you're dark and mysterious.
Ying, I know I've largely relinquished my overprotectiveness, but if it's one thing I've tried to teach you, it's to stand by your statements.
So you're okay with me just calling you a plain rock then?
I'm not okay with it, but if that's what you believe, then it shouldn't matter if I'm okay with it.
You want some bread?
Everything down here tastes like mildew.
Yeah, I think the guy got it from kind of let it sit out for too long. Okay, you know what? And at this, Ying just kind of slams the ground and stands up. This is it. You know, when Hosa comes back, we're going to leave here. We're going to find a nice place to stay. And we're not going to live like outlaws. Not that there's anything wrong with that, looking at Amaruk a little hesitantly.
Well, technically, we are, in a way, outlaws, right? We've been outlaws ever since we ran from the White Lotus.
I mean, that is kind of true, but remember that whole thing with Tenzin? He told the White Lotus to leave us alone, or he'd get mad at them, and they kind of backed off, but didn't really stop bothering us?
Yeah, but we've lived as outlaws. Like you said, you were coming across as a little bit judgmental of who we used to be, and in a way, who I still am, given that, you know, family ties to crime lords and all that.
That's why I was being hesitant, because I don't know if I used... You know what? I'm just going to put my foot in my mouth, and I think we would get across this conversation better.
Well, no, you see, you've already put your foot in your mouth. What you need to do now is take it out.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, my point being, we need to find somewhere to live. We need to find somewhere that obviously accommodates a Shirshu. That might be more of a problem than I think. But speaking of your family, Amaruk, have you heard or checked in on any of that in the last month? I haven't really asked out of respect, but anything?
And you see Amaruk actually pause for a moment to set aside her book, and her face grows a little bit stern. It's uncharacteristically almost vacuous and blank. I guess I've been putting off a little bit. I've spoken with some of the people down here and seen if I could, I don't know, connect with anyone I used to know, but maybe I haven't really pursued all the avenues that I should have explored.
And interestingly enough, as you say that, an old man kind of pokes his head in the room and says, "Ah, you're talking about that Twin Moon people, right?" And the old man is like, I'm trying to find the right words. He's living down here, so he's shoddy like the rest of the place. But there's a certain tell to him when he walks with his quote-unquote cane that you know he's faking a limp. So this is all an act, and you know it's an act, just looking at him.
Do you regularly eavesdrop on people's conversations?
Oh yeah, there's nothing else to do down here, so I gotta amuse myself somehow. That's how scuttlebutt works, you know? It's how rumors get around, you know? Somebody hears a rumor and spreads it, and that's kind of my job. That and to complain about this damn weather. Oh, my back.
You get much weather down here other than the humidity?
He just points at the third corner of the room, which hasn't been pointed at yet, and there's just a steady stream of water coming down from, you know, above the rest of the city.
That's fair.
But I understand. I mean, you've been down here a month. I've figured out that you had some connection to the Twin Moon, and I thought, well, you know what? One day they're gonna ask, and you're the Dark Avatar, aren't you? And at this, Ying goes, no, not the Dark. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna expose you. I wouldn't do that. But I just want to know one thing. Is it true you can make people into benders? And Ying goes like still. She blanches, color drains from her face, and she goes, no, I can't make people benders, but I can sort of enhance what they can do. And the old man looks a little bit crestfallen and says, "Oh, well, okay. I'll still tell you. I mean, I found the information anyway, but, yeah, Twin Moon woman, lady, whatever your name is, I didn't eavesdrop that much. There's a social function, tonight, actually, about 9 hours. And, apparently the Twin Moon's, matriarch, I don't remember her name, but, she's announcing her run for, the council."
I can't believe that they've actually gotten that far. I knew that they had political aspirations, but to think that my mother, Akun, could make it that far.
Well, from the pictures I saw her, she looks like she's just as much a Spitfire as you are, young lady. He gives you a wink. But, I'll let you do with that information what you will. Suppose if you are moving out, it doesn't matter, but if you ever want to find me again, they called me Old Rickety.
Emmerich just sort of looks down at the cane. Do you need like a chiropractor or a doctor? I mean, I could look at you. I know a little bit about, energy bending and healing.
Oh, you don't need to. It's both. It helps me busk people, and kind of gotten used to it at this point. You get up here in my age group, and it's just a wonder I can move at all.
I don't know. I think you need to aspire to more. Don't let your age define you. You can still live a very full and meaningful life.
That's very kind of you, but I don't think I'm going to be doing the Manderville anytime soon.
Not with that attitude, you're not.
And at
all
that,
right, that's your choice.
He kind of smiles, nods at each of you, and then you hear his canes, go down the corridor as he leaves. And Ying kind of looks after him and then goes, "Okay, Old Rickety, that's a thing apparently. So yeah, this social function, 9 hours. Are we going?"
Emmerich?
I don't want to go, obviously, but and she just sort of starts rubbing the back of her neck awkwardly, like she has a crick. But we have to find out what they were doing. We've left them alone for too long. We've never actually found answers to whatever it was they were doing with the lion turtle egg or disrupting the spirits. It's a loose end that needs to be tied up, and maybe a lot of them, a whole handful for me.
So, I raise a practical question at this point. What do we do once we're there?
Ultimately, the source of all of this, the political machinations, the interference with the spirits, all of it comes down to my mother. So, I guess I have to speak with her. And I mean, speak might be a kind of euphemism for fight in some way, or I don't know, because this would probably go horribly awry. She is not one to, yield, relent, buckle, bend, acquiesce to requests of any kind. Various other synonyms that I can't think of because I'm too utterly distraught over the prospect of confronting my mother and, dredging up all this misery of my past.
We don't have to go if you don't want to, Amaruk. I mean, I might be a jerk sometimes, so I'm not that much of a jerk.
You're not a jerk, she says, actually glancing over at her, and then she stands and gives some kind of formal expression of respect that would be indicative of the water tribe, that would be a characteristic of their culture. Mm-hmm. And then she says, you take your responsibilities seriously, and you've never tried to flee from them. I respect that, and I appreciate it.
And there was that one time where I kind of, you know what, I'm just going to take the compliment, thank you.
Yeah, that's the opposite of putting your foot in your mouth. That's very good. I think we've all learned something here today.
Yeah, we've learned that my foot tastes like this stupid sewer room. Okay, all right, so if we're going, we can't go like this. Like, we're going to have to find bath or something, and then I don't know, Amaruk. I mean, you probably know more than anyone here. I mean, what are we talking clothes-wise? Do we have to go get like special tailored stuff? Like, should I break out my ceremonial furs? Like, what are we looking at here?
Well, and she looks over at Lou. It all depends on how we're actually going to approach this. Are we going to try to sneak in? Are we going to try to enter in as, I don't know, party crashers? Or you are the Dark Avatar, you could leverage your position, or maybe Tenzin can help us. I mean, it's the least he could do since he's not letting us stay on Air Temple Island, which would be really convenient.
Yeah, he might be okay with me running around and teaching me, but he has this weird thing where he's worried about his kids, which I totally get, you know, Dark Avatar running around, don't want to corrupt the kids, but I don't know, I think he's just doing the protective father thing. But no, to answer your question, I mean, I worry that if we show up as Team Dark Avatar, they're gonna, you know, the other partygoers are gonna take that as an endorsement of your mother, unless we make a scene otherwise.
Well, maybe it's time to show you both the value of good undercover work.
Go on.
Oh. I don't have anything yet. But
This is why you're the Rock.
I'm not ready, but I may be getting ready.
Isn't a rock always ready? I mean, it just sits there. Unless it's some sort of rolling boulder.
The first thing we need to do is find a bath.
Simple enough. What do we do after that?
I need to go shopping.
And at this, Ying actually brightens up a bit and goes, well, I have sort of been doing a little bit of quote-unquote busking on the side, and she pulls out a very hefty jingling coin purse and sets it down in front of everybody. I don't know if that's enough, but...
What busking do you do?
I do little... Well... Okay, this is gonna seem really weird based on what I am, but did any of you ever look into Avatar Aang? He had a few parlor tricks, and here, you know, it's probably just easier for me to show you. She reaches into a pocket, pulls out a small metal ball, and then airbends it in a circle over her palm, and just smiles and go, "Ha, ah, ah."
I suppose that would be considered quite the trick, given the rarity of airbending.
Oh, well, that's kind of the other reason we can't be on Air Temple Island, because of all the new airbenders that are flocking to Tenzin for training, so yeah.
Did he say anything about that?
Like, just the fact we brought it back in general, or?
Yes.
I mean, he's over the moon that we brought his people back, but it's not like
that's a relief.
Yeah.
What did you think, that he was going to be mad?
Well, it's difficult to gauge people's reactions to something so monumental. For all we know, Tenzin could have very much enjoyed the prestige of being extremely rare in this world, his family basically being the airbenders, the only ones.
And Emmerich, sort of sighing, says, no, I don't think so. If I were in his place, and I knew that the responsibility for carrying on my family, not just children, but the legacy, and that would weigh so heavily on me, to know that I didn't have to have children. I didn't have to carry on for an entire people. and she turns over to the Dark Avatar, I would never be able to thank you enough for taking that weight off my shoulders.
Oh, we did the right thing. Make no mistake, we righted a century and a half's worth of injustice. But you never can tell how people will react. And they may say one thing, but often they hold something else in their hearts.
So Ying thinks for a moment and says, okay, I think I've decided on a course of action, which we probably will end up not doing anyway, but here's what I'm thinking. We get the bath, we get the special furs and the coats and the tuxedos and whatever else is in fashion for the Twin Moon or politics or whatever this event is. And then we show up as Team Dark Avatar, right? Following me? And we make a beeline for either your mom, what was it, Akun?
Mm-hmm.
We beeline for Akun, and maybe this is where the plan falls apart in my mind. Maybe we imply that she needs to speak with us in private now, and then we get a private audience, or maybe instead we like, oh, well, you are the reason why so-and-so is happening, but we don't have any evidence, so the press is just going to snap photos and make tabloids about us. So
what we need is more information about what my mother has been doing, what the Twin Moon have been doing in this city and throughout the world before we start making accusations. Probably something we should have been gathering information about, over the last month. But hey, last minute is better than never, right? So I think we need to start speaking to people who might be able to give us the information we need to levy solid accusations.
okay. And Ying looks between Lu and Amaruk. Do we know a lower ranking member of the Twin Moon that we could maybe hit up and see if they want to give us details before we do the whole party thing?
Well, I know of one person who hates the Twin Moon probably more than any one of us, because obviously I have conflicted feelings, and there's a love-hate relationship as with my mother. But on my part, but the point is, I do know.
It's the person who gave you your necklace, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Are we okay to meet with him, her, they, them? You haven't really spoken a whole lot about them.
Well, it's again, complicated, conflicted kind of situation. Because when I had that little arranged marriage thing from my mother, and he arrived and turned out to be that really horrible and creepy fellow that we met, Hanzo, I just
or do you think he's going to be at the party?
He's probably going to be at the party, yeah.
Okay.
But the point is, I just kind of left. So I don't know if Rin, the girl who actually gave me this, is going to be all too thrilled about seeing me. So this is, it's all I've got.
Well, say she isn't. How dangerous is she?
Well, she kind of runs a small criminal organization. That's just circles I run in, little dangerous. Not as dangerous as my mother. Let's say 30%. 30% as dangerous as my mother.
Well, let's go see her. But first,
Bath and clothes?
bath. Well, if we're going to go in as ourselves, I don't need any new clothes. I just need the ones I have washed.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I should probably dress up as the whole Dark Avatar, but maybe it's just me who's getting the outfit. Who knows?
And I think at this point, Lou will just sort of do the, arms out, just look at what I'm wearing sort of thing. And it's apparent, he wears very formal looking robes every minute of every day.
Well, as we now move to more of an out-of-character conversation, there's a few things we can do here, and again, I want to start tapping some of your moves here, because you actually have, between the two of you, have some great moves here. The first one, which I thought was interesting, is, if I'm correct, Amaruk, you still have the Otter Penguins, Unagi, and Hot Springs. Is that correct?
I do, yes.
Would you mind go ahead and roll that for me? So rolling with Harmony here. And we're going to see what information you still know about Republic City.
Okay. And I think I'll take that +1, if that's okay.
Well, actually, there's a total of +3 that is available to you all, and this is probably something I should have probably said at the top of the stream. I'm going to start treating +1 forward like momentum in Star Trek Adventures, meaning that it carries on. It's not going to be just for one roll, so you can use up to 3, but you could just choose to use 1 if you so wished.
Okay. I'll take the 1.
Take the
We'll
one?
see if
Okay,
that,
I'll make a note of
yeah.
that.
I don't want to steal them all from Aaron.
Well, it looks like even with the +1, that's going to be a 3, which, doing the math in my
Snake
head
Eyes.
here, yeah, even if you use the other 2 and Lu Song-Shi helps you, I mean, it would have to be Ying helping you as well, so I don't think that's going to happen. So let's start with that question then. What do you expect to find when you go looking for Rin?
So I expect to find her as the head of a small criminal organization, not sort of like a vicious street gang or one of the triads or even a small triad. It's more like kind of like a slightly seedier version of Robin Hood, wherein she is actively opposing some of the major criminal organizations. She is a kind of free, loose, and amiable criminal.
Just like a vigilante?
Yeah.
So, when you go looking for her, you find where supposedly she's holed up, but I want to sort of paint the picture here is that, and we're going to say this is after you've gotten the clothes, the bath, etc. It's still raining, but you've gotten an umbrella or a cloak to keep yourself, doing well. But when you find her, at least when you're told where Rin is, you essentially enter into a very expensive part of Republic City. I'm talking the best sort of banners that are waterproof, that are still emblazoned with gold and purple fabric and inlay. I'm talking opulent statues, and I wouldn't call them gargoyles because I don't think gargoyles are technically a thing in Avatar, but kind of just these busts of lions and other exotic animals. All the buildings are either skyscrapers or they're designed to look like fine temples. This is a place where you did not expect to find Rin in any capacity. To make matters more interesting is that the people out front are wearing her colors. They are wearing the hold on, I had it written down. Unless you wanted to come up with the gang name, since Rin is your NPC.
I don't think they really had a name, so
Okay.
it would have been so small time and amorphous in terms of its operation. It was more like just an aggregation of friends as opposed to a real gang.
Then, here it is. So the Black Blossom Triad. There we go. The Black Blossom Triad is very recognizable because they have a floral arrangement for their sigil. And it is center stage, just like how Lu Song-Shi, you've got that Dai Li symbol, kind of center mass. Same thing on all of the Black Blossom crew. But again, Amaruk, the Black Blossom were small time last you knew. These people look like they are, to use a contemporary term, they look like they're Yakuza. They look like they are in with the right people. They know who to shake down. They look confident. They look like they're owning their wealth, if you follow.
Maruk, I haven't been with the Dai Li long, but even we tread very carefully when dealing with people this obviously wealthy.
And I think Amaruk, as they are traversing this more resplendent and opulent area of the city, is going to direct them off into an alley as they look upon the very obvious signs of the Black Blossom Triad and the emblems that are being displayed so openly. And then peering out at that group of, I guess, guards that are standing in front of this area, she's going to shake her head and then turn to Lou almost desperately and say, This doesn't make any sense. She hated all of this. She was real and honest. She showed me what life was like outside of all of this. This is wrong.
You'd be surprised what people are capable of.
I don't believe that. This is exactly what my mother would do. The kind of show that she would put on, the kind of constraints that she'd put on people, forcing them to wear her emblem, to declare her presence, her power, her authority. Rin was never like that. She despised all of that. She was the one who when I was imprisoned by my mother in our compound, she was the one who showed me the city, the alleyways, the people, what life was really like. This is not her. This is not. I don't understand.
When you left, did you see her before you left? Did you explain to her why you were leaving?
No, that was telling her what happened was a problem, and I run from my problems. But but she knows what my mother was like.
Yes.
She knew that she had to understand.
But did she know that you left? Did she know that you run? Is it possible that she may have thought you chose your mother's path? And perhaps she thought the only way to get close to you again was to walk that same path.
And she just deflates. I don't know.
And I think, like, sort of uncharacteristically, because, Lu Songshi isn't what you would call a hard individual, but he's visibly softer here than he perhaps normally would be, placing both hands on Amaruk's shoulders. He says, "Listen, you keep saying that you run from your problem, but here you are. You're approaching someone that you have potentially hurt for help in approaching your mother. This is the bend in the river that I told you about. Don't falter now." And I would like to guide and comfort Amaruk.
Okay. Well, the good news is that, at least by my count, you guys don't have any conditions or fatigue at the moment, but there is the chance that you can shift balance here, which might prove useful. So yeah, go ahead and Lu Songshi, give me a harmony, please. Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to use the remaining 2.
Remaining 2? Okay.
Ooh.
And that's a full hit. So on a basic hit, you get to... they choose one. So Amaruk, you can either clear for 2 fatigue and a condition, or a condition, sorry. And you can ask 1 question of Amaruk, and Amaruk will have to answer honestly. Or Amaruk, you can kind of shut Lu Songshi down and inflict a condition on him and shift their balance. But since you rolled a 10+, if you embrace, you can both shift balance here potentially.
Yeah, I think I will embrace that advice.
So what is the 1 question you're going to ask Amaruk here, Lu Songshi?
I don't see a list of questions there.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Is here, it's any question. There's not a list for this one.
Yeah. So anything that you want me to reveal, anything about the past, anything about my current emotional state, any question I suppose is open and on the table.
Okay. Interesting.
I know it's a tough one.
How about this? What are Amaruk's current feelings for Rin?
Good question.
And that pause is actually in character as she mulls over it and then looks you right in the eye as you're still sort of holding her shoulders. And she says, I feel about her the way that I always have. I don't know if I loved her the way that you're supposed to love somebody, that, and she gestures towards that tattered old betrothal necklace. But I loved her the way that you love a book. And that seems ridiculous, but it's the best kind of book, the book that you can read over and over and over again, even though you've memorized it and you know it as intimately as you know yourself, and still you learn something new from it. You see the world through a different lens. It rarefies and transforms it. A book that's new and novel and exciting every single time you pick it up, so that you could just keep reading it forever.
I think Ying leans in and kind of behind you, Amaruk, and says, that's, I know we say this a lot about you, Amaruk, but you have quite the way with words when you're passionate about something.
I love books.
You said you know it. You know this book. So you know Rin. Forget what you see. And listen to and hear.
Now here's my question real quick. So, Lu Songshi, you have the option of shifting Amaruk's balance here. Would you like to?
I think...
And if you need a reminder, Amaruk is between tradition and between progress.
Yeah. No, I think for now I'm gonna leave it as is.
Leave it as
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I'm just gonna let it lay. I mean, obviously I can't use it later, but really, what I wanted that for was because I've now earned one team.
Already calling upon the pillar move. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can now shift his balance, yes?
No, so if you wanted to shift his balance, you had to shut him down.
Okay. I thought that
it
was mutual if it was...
incorrectly. Yeah.
Actually, no, it's on a 10 plus. If they embrace your guidance and comfort, you may also shift their balance. Okay.
Yeah, when I do the actual how to play video that covers all these basic moves, I'm going to have to be really careful what I say. But yeah, so... As that all happens, as you kind of come out, you say everything that you've said so far. Ying also kind of nods and then grabs both of your attention and says, "Hey, it looks like they're kind of talking about something, like in hushed tones. Do you think they saw us?"
Maybe, but Ying, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I'm not sure if the Dark Avatar should be seen walking into this place.
Do we have a signal if I need to come in and save you?
I mean, earth-bending, metal-bending, explosions.
Yes, I've taught you a little bit of what I know, and when the time comes, I'll teach you everything. But for now, plant your feet and wait for the rumble.
Wait for the rumble. Okay.
And maybe don't know. Maybe Hosa will show up too.
That is a possibility. She is a Shirshu. She can find me anywhere.
That reminds me. And almost Shazo style, we will pull out 2 iguana sticks
Nice.
from a duffel bag that he's carrying. I says, I grabbed these when we left the bathhouse.
Oh, yeah, that'll make Hosa really happy. Thanks.
Right. And yeah, he'll take off the duffel bag, sort of set it down, and ask Ying to just watch after it and be safe. And if you need us, just what?
Yeah,
We'll
I don't
find
know.
you.
It's weird coming from the other way.
We'll find you.
She's the Dark Avatar. She'll be fine out here. What's the worst that could happen?
On
Right.
that highly prophetic note, that's where we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break. We'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. And welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of the Season 2 premiere of Rise of the Dark Avatar. If you're just joining us, well, a lot's happened. A month has passed since the events of last season, and in the process of trying to get their footing and their bearing and just moving up in the world, Team Dark Avatar has decided to begin investigating the Twin Moon and maybe even find a better place to stay than the underbelly of Republic City. And their journey has led them to, well, one of the, I'm going to call it the Fire Dragon section of the city, where apparently an old acquaintance of Amaruk's, in fact, acquaintance isn't the right word because it's the same person that gave Amaruk her betrothal necklace, and by all reckoning has no right to be in a place like the Fire Dragon District, but here they are. And to further paint the picture, the place where this individual, where Rin's gang is holed up, the Black Blossom, it is a 4-story building. It is designed in Asiatic fashion, which I guess is everything Avatar, but I really want to kind of drive home the Chinatown feel, where it's kind of like sweeping corners, and I don't remember the exact word for the style of roofing and the windows, but maybe Oriental's the right word, I don't know. But if you've ever been to Chinatown or anything like Chinatown in any city, it's kind of that same vibe. Again, out front, there are about 4 Black Blossom individuals that are kind of just mulling about, providing security and just a presence on the street. The passersby, like, some of them do kind of wave or nod at these guards, and some of the guards wave back or nod back. But for the most part, there seems to be a level of indifference here. They're not fearful, but they're also not paying respect, if that makes any sense. And at the moment, you two are currently in an alleyway about half a block away. Ying has since left the alleyway and is now sitting at a noodle shop about, half a block away from this location.
So, Lou, Amaruk is just going to say as she peers over around the corner at the collection of guards, do we take the direct approach where I just announce my presence as a feigned member of the Twin Moon, trying to convince them that I'm an emissary hoping to parlay, or do we sneak in?
Why lie? If this organization is opposed to the Twin Moon, they may not react favorably to you announcing you're with them.
I know, but it's more like you don't shoot the messenger, right? Unless you really want to make a statement, then you don't just kill him. So yeah, probably the good idea not to just, yeah.
We say what we're actually doing here. We're here to see Rin. You're here to see Rin.
Right. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. It's just gonna look at him and then look out at the group of soldiers.
I'll
You
follow
first?
your lead.
Oh, good. Aren't you supposed to be the leader of our group, the solid rock that, you know?
And sometimes that solid rock has to learn when to lead and when to follow.
Oh, so this is one of those sort of metaphorical versions of what you did with Xiaozhou when you just sort of launched him into the air, shoot him through that portal. You're just going to throw me out into this situation.
I'm going to let you grow. Remember what I said after the battle with Grandmaster Yera? I can't fight for you, but I can fight with you.
And not even responding to that, she's just going to steel herself and walk calmly towards the collection of triad guards.
All right. So when you get close enough, maybe, 2 arms length away, they actually pay attention to you and recognize you're beelining for him. Then the lead one, we'll call him stocky individual, short, stout, maybe pushing 5 feet on a good day. He's bald. He has almost like a Hitler stash where it's kind of just that block right underneath his nose. And he kind of looks at you and goes, "Hey, what do we got here? We got a lady and a guy. What business do you have with the Black Blossoms?"
We are here to see Rin.
Oh, well, you want to see Rin? Well, I want to take my lady to see Pro Bendin, but both of those things ain't happening anytime soon.
Not with that attitude, it's not. I mean, surely you could sort of parlay your position into tickets to see Pro Bending, but that's beside the point.
As
the
you
point
say
is,
that, the other guards erupt with laughter, and one of the taller ones says, "He can't go because he's banned from the arena. He tried stealing something from one of the announcers. Like an idiot," and he kind of slaps him on the back.
What did you try to steal?
It's, you see a dame with a nice necklace and you think, that would look good on my gal, and, I try to get the 5-finger discount.
Backfired.
Oh, quite tremendously. Got kicked out and almost spent half a month in high security lockup.
Do they know your face?
Republic City's gods or the lady I tried to steal from?
I mean, ringside seats aren't anywhere near the announcers.
You got a point. And at this point, I have to ask, would you like to trick them? And just as a reminder, a trick would be a creativity in this instance. Because, right now you're kind of on the trick track, but there is, again, the option to plead or intimidate. You just would have to switch the way you're role-playing.
Yeah. So... I want to sell you on something that's not any of those things.
Okay, go ahead. And don't mind my camera shutting off. I just have to grab something for my cat, but carry on.
Sure. I'd like to sell you on a move from the Pillar playbook, out of uniform.
Oh, yeah, the Batman one. I remember this one. It was one of my favorites.
Basically alter your persona to fool somebody into thinking that you're something else. You roll with creativity. And basically what I want to do is sort of pass myself off as a pro-bending manager for the Bossing Say Behemoths.
Okay, somebody write that down, because I love this. Bossing Bay Behemoths. I'll write it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we have anything from chat at this point?
Nope, you've used everything
2
from chat at the moment.
I used those on the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, maybe if something comes in the next couple minutes. But no, so, let's see. Out of uniform, there you go, Kakura's got you. You got a +1.
Oh.
So, out of uniform requires you to roll with creativity here.
Yep.
and you get a full hit. So yeah, tell us about how you not only masquerade as this individual, but do so in a way that gets you in the door.
And and I think maybe this is a little jarring for Amaruk, as Lou's going to tap one of the tools in his toolbox he doesn't regularly use. His posture sort of switches up, and he leans forward and he says, "You're in luck, young man. My name is Rock Stonewall, and I left my business cards back at the hotel. I'm the equipment manager for the Bossing Say Behemoths. And really, we were coming to see Rin. I wanted to discuss a lucrative sponsorship deal that could see us both make some considerable money. Anyway, more to the point, I can get you ringside seats just above the dugouts.
Short guy kind of looks at his fellows. Yeah. Short guy kind of looks at his fellows, and his fellows are like, eh. And short guy turns back and says, "Gee, you can really do that? All I got to do is let you see the boss."
Easy.
Well, you got yourself a good deal. I can see why you're, the Bossing Bay Behemoths? I can see that they've got a great manager.
Oh, I'm just the equipment manager, but I appreciate it. I mean, someday I hope to be, in the big seat, but for now, I'll take assistant captain any day.
Don't sell yourself short there. I mean, come on. A team is only as good as its equipment. Think about what they do if you took a rock disc to the head without proper padding.
Oh, well, I mean...
Well, you'd end up like Tommy here, who can't add 2 + 2. And Tommy says, "I take offense to that. I actually know what 2 + 2 is. I mean, who wouldn't know what 2 + You have no idea what is it." "Shut up! Of course I know what 2 + 2 is." And they do a whole Three Stooges skit as short guy begins to lead you inside. And in the interior of this building, it is even more glamorous than the outside of the Fire Dragon District. We're talking a literal fountain, just a regular old fountain in the lobby of this place. And in the foyer area, you see all the way to the top floor. It's kind of one of those open buildings, almost like, I'm trying to figure out a classical example. Almost like one of those large, like, convention hotels where it kind of has that main lobby and then the rooms are kind of like on rings on the floors that look out into the foyer. Kind of the same thing here, where there's a few spiral staircases that go up the 4 floors. And what you're seeing is that most of the space is either office space or some form of bookkeeping for the Black Blossoms. But as you walk inside, the short individual says, "All right, well, my name is Tommy, and when I show you to the boss, you probably want to be quick. She's got some high function, high society bullcrap to go to later this evening, so I think she wants to prepare something special for that, but just keep it brief, or she'll have my butt."
I'm not here to step on anybody's toes. I've got a short proposal, just a few flashcards to go through, and I'll be out of your hair.
All right. It's up here. It's on 3rd floor. And you spiral up 3 floors, and he leads you to a door which has two new Black Blossom members. These look definitely beefy, like linebackers. And the 2 linebackers look down at Tommy and say, "The hell are you doing here, Tommy?" "Well, I'm bringing these 2 to see the boss about a sponsorship deal for Pro Bendin." 2 linebackers look at each other, look back at Tommy. "All right, but make it quick, little man. Otherwise, we're literally going to throw you off the 3rd floor like we did last week." Oh, you guys. And Tommy pushes you in and says, "All right, I got you in. I'll be downstairs." And throws you to the wolves, as it were. But when you enter into this room proper, you see that it is styled like a throne room. There is a short walkway before a actual chair that is made of dark, rich wood with more gold finery and inlay, and seated upon it is Rin. But before I say what she's wearing, Matthew, what did Rin used to look like?
Rin was a relatively lithe youth when Amaruk knew her. She was obviously from the Fire Nation. Dark hair, sort of like almost amber eyes, but fairly slender and I guess unassuming in terms of her posture, her demeanor, until you got to know her, when she was rather gregarious, upbeat, and I guess she would have this sort of air of compassion to her when you actually got to see that behind a kind of a projection or facade of criminality that she displayed.
Okay. So I might have missed it there, and if I did, I apologize. Did she have short hair, long hair?
It was sort of a short cropped hair.
Short cropped hair, okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that this aura of comfort, aura of understanding, would you say that she owned it, or was it more of just this was her actual personality coming through?
I would say that was her actual personality coming through.
Okay, very important distinction. So you recognize Rin because you could never forget that face, but she again is remarkably different from what you remember. The that aura of compassion, of gregariousness, I think is the right word. It is now authority, it is now power. It is someone, it's kind of that smug, but not conceited, feeling that they know they have power over people and will not hesitate to use it. Her hair is mid-back length. Currently there are 2 hairdressers kind of working her hair into tight buns and getting her ready for what you're assuming is the same event you're eventually going to be going to later this evening. But as you walk in, Rin looks up from her magazine that she's reading and goes, I don't have time for any... Oh my lord, is that... And she just stares at you, Amaruk, like locked onto you.
It's been a long
Bounce
time.
forward a little bit.
Yeah.
You two,
Hi.
out. Out. And she shoos the hairdressers out, and she waits for the door to be closed. She stands up. She's taller than you, remember. Maybe a couple inches more. And she comes right up to you, almost within hugging distance. Looks you up and down, gives you a courtesy sniff. You're wearing a new perfume.
Yeah, it's from the Fire Nation. That was where we visited last. You are very, very different from what I remember.
Well,
New
I mean, that
haircut.
kind of happens when the love of your life decides to leave you holding the bag and basically throws away everything that they had built with them. And, I just want to know, why did you leave? Why did you leave? Was I not good enough? Was this life not good enough for you? And if you'll permit me, I would like you to now deal with the fact she is calling you out. And in this instance, since she is an NPC, you are going to be rolling with tradition.
Okay, so that's just a straight 2d6.
Mm-hmm. But I think if you roll it from the sheet, it does the same thing. All right, you've got a miss. So actually, you're going to stand strong, and you can either clear a condition, clear a fatigue, again, you don't have either, or you shift your balance. Now, technically, as I read that, if you don't want to shift your balance, you don't have to, but it does read like an or, not a definite you must, so you have the option.
Yeah, I think I'll shift it towards progress as Amaruk is reaffirmed in her decision to depart and, I guess, violate the codes and conventions of her family and the arranged marriage that was imposed upon her. So I'll shift myself 1 towards progress.
All right. So what does that look like in roleplay fashion?
So initially there is that air of trepidation as she is, her personal space has been violated by Rin, who almost stands as a stranger to her. And now Amaruk is actually not going to take a step forward, but rise slightly and no longer appear to be cowering back. And look her in the eye, say, I didn't want to leave, but I had to. You know what my mother was like. You know what she wanted me to do. I wasn't going to just give in to her. I was going to lose you either way.
Yeah, but at least could have gotten a note, could have, I don't know, taken the time to just tell someone to tell me. No, you just left. You just up and left. Didn't say a word, didn't tell anybody where you were going. I thought you were dead. Dead. And then what do I find out? I find out that you're alive with the freaking Dark Avatar of all things.
I don't have an explanation. I wasn't thinking. I ran.
Well, that's
all.
not a surprise. Running and not thinking. Why am I not surprised?
You're one to talk. When you got me out of the compound, those nights when we ran off into the city just to explore, to live, it wasn't about thought. It was just about experience.
Yeah, well, experiences change people. And she steps away without giving you a hug or any touch, and she sits back down on her throne. What did you come here for? Because if it was to rekindle an old flame, ain't gonna happen.
And she closes her eyes for a moment, breathes, and you see there's this sort of echo of the kind of meditation that you have seen from her in the past when she's trying to reconnect with the spiritual traditions of her own people and engage in that sort of spirit bending. Then she opens them, her eyes cool and glassy, and she says, "No, I'm here because my mother, I don't know what she's doing, but it's wrong. Whatever the twin moon is trying to accomplish, it's monstrous, it's perverse, and I'm done running from my problems. That's why I'm here to speak with you, and why I'm here to find out what my mother's doing, and stop her."
So, I think I'm going to have you do a plead here. That's going to be a harmony roll. And I don't think chat's off cooldown. Yeah, I think chat has another 3 minutes before they're on cooldown, but you do not have a +1 from chat at the moment.
Okay. Well, I've rolled 2 3s thus far. We've gotten all
That's
those
a
bad
4.
rolls out of the way. Okay. Well, no, we haven't. This is good. Okay.
All right, so I think on a miss,
Easter famine.
what's going to happen is Rin is going to get a little bit more straightened up. She's going to kind of almost scoff as she replies, "Yeah, you'd like that, to know what your mother's been up to. Like to know what she's got in store for everybody. Well, I'll tell you the same thing I'll tell the press later. The Twin Moon are going to do great things for Republic City and for the world. And all it's going to take to make all these lovely changes happen is to vote in your mother as part of the council. And the Black Blossoms would be happy to support her."
You hated her more than anyone. You hated everything that she stood for. Was I worth that much? You're not betraying me. I betrayed you, but you are betraying yourself.
And at that, she actually starts to rise, but stops herself and goes, "I still see you understand how to get underneath my nerves, underneath my skin. I do not miss that. I do not miss that at all. So, I'll tell you this much, and whoever this boy toy of yours is, I changed because apparently what life I had wasn't enough to keep my most important person in the world around in my life. So I thought, why not try something else? Why not try doing the complete opposite of what I was doing? And look around. I've done amazing things with the opportunities and power and wealth I've been given. But you know what the kicker is?" And she leans in, kind of puts that elbow on her knee as she leans in. "You know what the kicker is? I'm marrying your ex-fiancé to kick it all off."
You know, Rin, I pity you. And I'm sorry that how much and how deeply I hurt you has turned you into this.
Before we go any further, do you want to try and call her out?
Yes.
Okay. So the way it works when you call an NPC out is technically you're supposed to know what their principle is. You can make a guess here what their principle is, and if it's close enough to the answer, quote unquote, then I can let you roll. But you have to get her balance, her principle right. So based on what we've presented thus far, both on my end and your end, what do you want to guess at what her principle is?
That's a good
And if you
one.
want help from Aaron, Aaron can help you.
I'm going to go with, could it be something like, not revenge per se, but resentment?
Resentment? Okay. Anything you'd like to add, Aaron?
The thing that comes to mind to me, she's sort of harped on, you know, the way she's been hurt again and again, and the way that she's embraced this power that she has, sort of as a means to mitigate that and sort of protect herself. Really what she's saying is she wants to protect herself from being hurt again by being in control of everything. So perhaps either love power or love control, something like that, maybe. I don't know. Hard to say, really.
So with that in mind, Matthew, what is the final answer you wish to give?
Yeah, I do like control as a concept.
You may roll. Her principle is control. Very insightful of you, Aaron.
Yes, indeed, Aaron. Thank you. Would that be harmony?
Yes, so you are going to be rolling with harmony, and so the way it works is you've got a plus one from chat. So if you roll, let me make sure, roll with their principle. All right, so their principle is currently 0, so you're rolling just 2d6 flat. If you want to add the plus one from chat, you can. On a hit, they are going to act as you say, or they're going to mark a condition. If you roll a 7 to 9, they're going to challenge your view of the world in turn, and they're going to either shift your balance or make you mark a fatigue. If you miss, something happens, but let's be positive here. You're going to get a hit. Finally, you haven't rolled many hits today's session. And
when you mark a fatigue, you can roll with one of your principles. Would that apply in this situation as well?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's consult the full rules and see if we can get a quick answer. Because I like where your head's at. Because I'm thinking you're going to roll with the plus one you just have, yeah?
Yep.
All right, so let me see if I can find a quick move for that. Let's see. Because I believe it's for any move, which I could be
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so this might not be the right answer according to the rules, in which case yell at me in the comments or in chat, but I'm going to say, yeah, if you want to mark fatigue and roll with that plus one of progress, go ahead.
Yeah. And I'll take that plus one from chat. Thank you very much.
All right, and you get a full hit. Very nice. Very nice. So, what is it you want them to do? Let's be very clear. What is it you want them to do here? Because you got a full hit.
Do I want to go with the selfish answer, or do I want to go with the answer that actually helps us move the plot forward? Because
go with the drama answer. Drama answer.
No, the character. The character has to drive this.
Yeah. It would be too far or too great a stretch for me to say I want her to forgive me, but I want her to perhaps understand why it was that Amaruk made the choices that she did, and caught up in that emotionalism and that fear. That's why she fled, so that there is at least a sense of empathy for that experience as opposed to antipathy.
Okay. So you say all that, you communicate that, and Rin leans back in her chair, kind of looks down at the ground, kind of doesn't meet your eye, and then she finally says, if you go now, I won't tell your mother or your ex-fiancé, I won't tell anyone that you came here. But you can't come back here ever again. If you do, it's not going to be on talking terms. I can't forgive you, but that's what we used to have. Out of respect for that, I'll give you that much.
Thank you. Could I say one more thing, though?
Make it quick.
It'll be quick.
I have a ball to attend later this evening, and my hair is, as you can tell, much more of a pain to deal with.
I'm not going to tell you not to marry Hanzo, but he is a cruel and horrible person, and he'll make you even more miserable than I have. I don't want that for you, so please, just think about that.
She nods and then kind of does that shooing motion with her hand, but doesn't say anything further.
And Emmerich is going to turn over to Lou. Let's go.
Lou will nod, and as she exits, he's gonna linger for a second, and take maybe a few steps midway between the door and her throne. And like, is she? So what's she doing now? I want to know if she's regarding him.
She's very deliberately trying not to look in your direction, but you can tell that she knows you're still there.
And I think Lou's gonna speak. His tone is ice cold, and he just says, "Look at me."
Let's call that an intimidate. I think that is a very, very clear intimidate here. So roll with passion, please.
All right. Let's go. Come on.
All right, so on a hit, they get to choose one. So they either run to escape or get back up. They back down but keep watch. They give in with a few stipulations. They attack you but off balance, and they start with a condition. So I'm going to say that they are going to give in with a few stipulations, and she'll look at you, and almost with a sneer, she'll say, "You have about 30 seconds before those guards are going to come barreling through that door, so make it quick."
I don't need 30 seconds. You're a coward.
And is that it?
No. We're bringing down the twin moon. And if you get in our way, I'll bring you down too.
I think palling around with the dark avatar has gone to your head. If what my people tell me is true, you're not even a mid-tier metal bender. You can make little toy horses at best.
Well, you know what I think? I think I've heard
really
that
don't
laugh
care.
before.
I really don't care. And at this point, you do start to hear motion from behind you, indicating the guards are about to come running in.
Yeah, and he'll exit.
Okay.
And he sort of stops at the door as he's exiting, turns his head and says, "Oh yeah, go behemoths."
And, you know, it's one of those motions where, if you remember this scene in Korra, for those of you that have watched Korra, where Bei Fong kind of does the motion where she's like, "Oh," as Korra's doing, you know, walking out of the jail. Kind of that same move here where it's like, "Oh." But yeah, on your way out, do you want to accomplish anything, or do you want to literally just get out of there and find Ying and go somewhere else? Like, where are you steering the ship now?
I think that's up to Amarok.
Fair enough.
So I think after you have departed, because you took a little bit longer to leave, Emmerich has already left. And as you search for her, you find her outside, sort of across the way. And she has in her hand that book, the journal that you've seen so often. And she is just running her fingers over the inside cover of the text.
I think without saying anything, Lou's going to see if there's like any writing on the inside cover, maybe something sentimental that would cause her to fixate on that.
And you see the inscription that has the inscription that you have seen previously, and it reads, "May this journal overflow or fill with the overflow of your heart."
I'm sorry I was right.
And she looks up, closes the front cover, almost slightly ashamed. What?
Nothing. Come on, let's go to the noodle stand.
Yeah, I could eat. Okay.
And as you approach the noodle stand, Ying is finishing up a big old bowl and kind of slurping, and he goes, "Oh, hey, you guys are... That was quick. Amaric, why do you look like you've been through hell?"
I think that question has a bit of a self-evident answer.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that it's just an act to make me feel like I should have come busting in, but, Hold on.
And,
she turns back to the shopkeeper. Big bowl of noodles, and she turns back to Amaric. You still like shrimp? Do you still do shrimp?
I'm good. I don't think I can really eat anything at the moment. And she just sort of takes a seat on one of the stools.
If it's one thing I've learned from Shazot, this is the perfect time to eat something.
And Emmerich will just sort of poke away at the noodles once it arrives, and not quite feign eating, but stir them in this melancholic fashion.
And don't worry, Lu Songshi, she gets you whatever you want in terms of bowl as well. But as you all are eating or pretending to eat, Ying kind of lowers her voice and says, "So, did you learn anything? Or, well, anything that we could use tonight?" Nothing.
We learned something very important.
Oh, what's that?
This is going to be a lot harder than we thought.
That I can agree to.
When you say harder, does that mean Team Dark Avatar, hell yeah, or we need to be stealthy about it tonight?
Rin just shakes her head. I don't know. Lou, you decide. We go in, or we sneak in, or who cares? It doesn't make a difference. It's not like my mother will listen to me.
It's not about whether she'll listen to you. It's about whether you'll do what you have to do. And that's try. What they do doesn't really matter. That's outside your control, but what you can do, that's everything. You just did something that took more courage than fighting 100 battles.
Sure as hell feels like it matters what they choose.
I suppose it does. You should eat that. You're gonna need your strength, probably.
Oh yeah, I mean, plenty more misery to enjoy tonight before it's over. Which I hope I'm not referring to my life, but that's entirely possible.
No. But if you're asking my opinion for what we should do, I think we should play this one low-key. Try for a surreptitious face-to-face. It really won't do much to enhance our already middling image if we show up to a political rally and start a fight with one of Republic City's leading citizens.
GM, how
Yes.
long do we have until the meeting is actually scheduled to take place?
Being charitable with walking distances, I'd say you've maybe got about 3 hours before the thing kicks off. Now, of course, if you want to be there early, it's one of those things where the staff will still be there and they'll still let you in the door if you have an invitation, kind of a thing. But if you want to walk in with the general crowd, you got to wait 3 hours, kind of a thing.
I'm going to try to sell you on something, Mike.
Sure.
I do have the walk this way.
That I was
move.
waiting for you to pull it out. I'm like, come on, how far do I have to push you? Do it.
Yeah. So what I would like to do is try to disguise us using my knowledge of the the twin moon and their, I guess, the orientation of their servants and their garb and their mannerisms in such a way that will allow us to gain access to perhaps some of the back rooms in that conference hall or in that ballroom that is going to host the political meeting. And that will essentially enable us to meet my mother before she actually carries out that, I guess, the gala itself.
Okay. So the way this works is you're going to be rolling with creativity, and on a 10 plus, you get all of that and a little more. On a 7 to 9, well, a gatekeeper's going to stand in your way, just one of them, and might be a little bit of an issue. But if you fail this, and the reason I'm telling you this up front, if you fail this, the only people that can bail you out are going to be Lu Songshi or Ying acting like an idiot. So just know that before you make the roll. No pressure, of course. And you get a hit. Okay. So, for sake of time, let's move you guys forward that 3 hours after Amaruk, after you've gotten everybody looking the part. And it's about 30 minutes before the gala actually starts. So it's still not quite letting people in, but people are starting to line up. And you go through the back entrance to what is essentially a ballroom, because that's how Twin Moon would walk in. They just walk in and they get in because they're Twin Moon. But as you're walking in, a butler comes up to you, or at least he looks like a butler. He's kind of got that, black suit and white gloves, and he says, "I'm sorry, Mrs. You can't come in this way. This is Twin Moon only. You'll have to come in through the general entrance out front."
And I think immediately leveling this almost viciously cruel glare at him, Amaruk is going to snarl and say, "You don't recognize security for the Twin Moon? Get out of my way, peasant." And I'm going to argue that that's an attempt at tricking him into believing that we are actually essentially guards that don't require any kind of legitimization or the like.
You know what? I like it. Go ahead. So for Trick, you're going to be rolling a creativity as well. And that's a full hit. So you get to pick 2 of the following. They're either going to stumble and you get +1 forward against them, they're going to act foolishly and they're going to give you an opportunity, or they're going to overcommit and be deceived for some time. I can take a guess which 2, but for sake of argument, which 2 would you like?
The latter 2, please. Yes.
I was going to say, just looking at Trick, I honestly don't know why you would ever pick the +1 forward based on what the other 2 give you. Like, I mean, maybe there's a use case for it, but I don't see it. But anyway, so the butler says, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. You're not dressed like security. Perhaps you're a plainclothesman. That would make more sense, perhaps. I can tell you that your fellows are already in back rooms over there. I can also tell you that if you need anything from the wait staff, just ask about a good old Timothy, and Timothy here will grit you a drink or food, whatever it is you require. As long as we forget this faux pas, of course."
And Akun, she's arrived?
Of course, yes. She arrived about an hour ago. She's in that room over there, and he points at a different room.
You're dismissed.
Very good. And he does that sort of waiterly bow with a flourish of his hand, and then scuttles off to not be in trouble.
And you see Amaruk just deflate after that, and almost shudder. "Oh, that was my mother right there."
"We're about to see that?" says Ying. Okay, I'm ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready as I'm going to be.
Right. Let's do this.
Right. Amaruk steps forward and then raises her hand actually to knock, shakes her head, and just opens the door and enters.
And as the door opens, that's where we're going to end today's session, because I'm an asshole and I have to end on a cliffhanger.
Huh.
But yeah, that was an amazing Season 2 opener, I think. We've set up some very interesting storylines. We've apparently destroyed Matthew's vision for the character, which I didn't intend to do, but the dice were kind of that, hey, GM, do evil things. And I'm like, okay, dice, I'll do evil things. So
It's perfectly consistent and well justified based on the narrative that I had developed. So I am happy to be a part of this.
Love it. All right. Well, this is where I'm going to end the recording for YouTube and for podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you later.